Madam Clerk, we are reporting out of closed session. We're reporting out of closed session.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Your Worship. There are two items reporting out of close. The first is a presentation on the Northern Six Partnership Waste Collection Contract Review, and the motion would read that the presentation be received for information.
We got a mover, seconder. It's the waste contract. Councillor Weiss, Councillor Gilliland. Comments, questions? Record a vote.
Council, the mayor has asked for a recorded vote, so I will begin by calling the vote, starting with Mayor Maracas.
Yes.
Mayor Maracas votes yes. Councillor Gilliland. Councillor Gilliland votes yes. Councillor Gardner. Councillor Gardner votes yes. Councillor Kim. Councillor Kim votes yes. Councillor Weiss. Councillor Weiss votes yes, and Councillor Gallo. Councillor Gallo votes yes, and that motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Second item.
The second report is related to the appeals of the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment applications 161 Heathwood Heights Drive, OPA 2025-04, ZBA 2025-05, and the motion would read that Council Closed Session Report PDS 26062 be received, and that the town solicitor be instructed to oppose the appeals relating to the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment applications, and an external lawyer and any necessary experts be retained to appear before the OLT to support council's position.
Mover, seconder, Councillor Gardner. Any comments, questions? Record a vote.
Thank you. The mayor has called the recorded vote, and I'll start with Councillor Kim. How do you vote? Councillor Kim votes no. Councillor Gallo? Councillor Gallo votes yes. Councillor Weiss? Councillor Weiss votes yes. Councillor Gilliland? Councillor Gilliland votes no. Councillor Gardner? Councillor Gardner votes yes. And Mayor Maracas?
Yes.
Mayor Maracas votes yes, and that motion passes 4-2.
Thank you. Confirming bylaw. Someone want to move that? Councillor Gallo, second. Councillor Gilliland. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Something up? Madam Clerk, is there anything we can do?
We could do a reconsideration and vote on it
Council,
again.
would everyone be obliged to put forward a reconsideration to allow Councillor Kim to put his accurate vote? He says that he's misspoke. Councillor Weiss, Councillor Gardner, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. So we're going to redo that recorded vote. Okay. Let's go again.
Okay, I'll start.
This is that we are opposing and going to the tribunal. Okay.
Thank you. I'll start with Councillor Weiss. Councillor Gallo. Sorry, Councillor Gallo and Weiss votes yes. Councillor Kim.
You're doing it again. You're doing it again. Thank you.
Councillor Kim votes yes. Councillor Gilliland.
That's fine.
Councillor Gardner.
Councillor Gardner. Thank you.
And Mayor Maracas.
Yes.
Okay, and Mayor Maracas votes yes. The motion passes 5-1.
All right, let's go back. Confirming bylaw, I had Councillor Gallo and Councillor Gilliland. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Kim, Councillor Weiss, all those in favor? Opposed, that carries. We are adjourned. Madam Clerk, time is 7:05. I'm going to call this committee of the whole meeting to order. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territories of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas, recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923. Shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. Council, can I get a motion to approve the agenda with the additional items? Councillor Kim, Councillor Gallo. All those in favor? All those in, I need 2/3. All those in favor? Opposed, that carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Community presentations, we have 5.1, Javed S. Khan, Rocco Morsillo, Aurora Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2026 inductees. Javed, welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Javed Khan, and for the past few years, I've had the honor of serving as the president and chair of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. On behalf of our Board of Governors, Nominations Committee, volunteers, honored members, and sponsors, I would like to welcome you and thank you for joining us this evening as we unveil the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame class of 2026. As a reflection of our strong partnership with the town of Aurora and the respect we have for the mayor's office and council, it has become a tradition for the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame to officially announce each new class of inductees here at Town Hall. This announcement also marks the beginning of our journey toward one of Aurora's most anticipated celebrations of sporting excellence, our annual induction celebration evening held each year during the first week of November. I am pleased to share that this year we will celebrate our 13th annual induction celebration on Thursday, November the 5th, 2026. And we once again gather at the beautiful Royal Venetian Mansion in Aurora to honor the newest members to the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Tonight represents more than an announcement. It is an opportunity to celebrate the people and the stories that have helped shape the sporting and cultural identity of our community. The Aurora Sports Hall of Fame was established with a simple but important purpose: to celebrate, to preserve, and to share the stories of those who brought pride and recognition to Aurora through sport. What is particularly encouraging is that each year we continue to see an increase in the number of nominations submitted from across our community. That growth is a testament to the passion people have for recognizing excellence and preserving Aurora's rich sporting heritage. It also means that the work of our selection committee becomes increasingly challenging as they carefully evaluate a growing number of highly deserving candidates who have made a significant impact both on and off the field of play. In many ways, that challenge is a good problem to have. It tells us that Aurora's sporting legacy continues to grow, and there are many remarkable stories still waiting to be discovered, shared, and celebrated. This year marks an historic milestone for the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. For the very first time in our history, we are introducing a new team category, recognizing that some of the most powerful stories in sport are not written by individuals alone, but by groups of people united by a common purpose and shared commitment. As we continue to grow, I encourage our community and especially our local sport organizations to become actively engaged with the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Share your stories, nominate deserving athletes, builders, coaches, volunteers, and now teams. Together, we can ensure that those who have shaped Aurora's sporting heritage receive the recognition they have earned and deserve. Because preserving sport history is not simply about celebrating the past, it's about inspiring the future. It is now my pleasure to introduce the chair of our induction committee, Rocco Morsillo, who will officially unveil the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame class of 2026. Rocco, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Javed. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Mayor and members of council, all the attendees. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this very special celebration as we honor individuals and for the first time teams whose impact on sport and our community continues to inspire generations. Tonight's inductees represent excellence, resilience, leadership, and service. Their stories remind us the true meaning of sport extends far beyond wins and losses. It lives in mentorship, sacrifice, teamwork, perseverance, and community spirit. Let's begin celebrating the remarkable Aurora Sports Hall of Fame class of 2026. For more than 2 decades, one individual helped shape the direction of hockey in Aurora and became one of the most influential community builders our town has ever seen. From grassroots development to leadership at a regional level, his commitment to young athletes and the future of the game left a lasting mark on countless families throughout our community. Tonight, we proudly induct Joe Benatilia in the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. As president of the Aurora Minor Hockey Association for 23 years, Joe became a driving force behind the growth and evolution of hockey in Aurora. He believed deeply in creating opportunities for young players, and he was never afraid to challenge conventional thinking. Long before the hockey world knew the name Connor McDavid, Joe advocated for a gifted 7-year-old to compete with 9-year-olds because he recognized the extraordinary talent and wanted to nurture it. Joe also helped introduce the Battle of Yonge Street, partnered with Canadian Tire to launch the First Start program, and later served years as president of the York Simcoe Minor Hockey Association. Beyond hockey operations, his leadership extended into the community, fundraising, volunteerism, and bringing people together through sport. His many honors include the Key to the Town of Aurora, OHF Award, OMHA Award, the Bill Dinsmore Award, and the Sport Aurora Volunteer Award, a reflected of a lifetime dedicated to service. Tonight, we honor a builder whose impact on hockey in Aurora will be felt for generations to come. Thank you, Joe. Endurance is about more than physical strength. It's about discipline, commitment, and the willingness to keep moving forward when others would stop. Tonight, we proudly welcome George Biondic into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. George has spent decades pushing the limits of human endurance through ultramarathon competitions lasting from 48 hours to an astonishing 10 days. But perhaps even more impressive is how he's used those accomplishments to serve his community. For his 70th birthday, George walked from Lake Ontario to Barrie, raising $16,000 for the Aurora Food Pantry, a remarkable demonstration of generosity and determination. Since moving to Aurora in 2004, George has remained deeply involved in the community, organizations including St. Andrews College, the Aurora Senior Center, the ACS Men's Shed. He also served as a mentor and coach to many athletes, including fellow endurance athlete and class of 2025 inductee Erlinda Biondic. His contributions earned him the Aurora Community Recognition Award in 2013, but his true reward continues to be the positive impact he leaves on others every day. Tonight, we honor an athlete whose endurance and generosity continues to inspire our community today. Some athletes are remembered for championships. Others are remembered because they inspire people to keep fighting no matter the obstacles placed before them. Tonight, we proudly welcome Paul Rosen into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Paul's story is one of extraordinary resilience, courage, and determination. After losing his leg at the age of 39 due to complications from a hockey injury, many would have accepted defeat. Paul chose a different path. He rebuilt his life and went on to represent Canada at 3 Paralympic Games in 2002, 2006, and 2010, helping Team Canada win the Paralympic gold in 2006, while serving as an emotional and spiritual leader of the team. Yet Paul's greatest legacy may be hope and inspiration he gives others away from the rink. Through his mental health advocacy, motivational speaking, and his book, Never Give Up, he has impacted audiences across Canada, including members of the Canadian military. Many Canadians also recognize his voice through his outstanding commentary work for TSN and CBC covering Para-Ice Olympics. Tonight, we celebrate an athlete whose courage transcends sports and whose story continues to inspire people everywhere. Sometimes greatness emerges from the unlikely places. The next inductee didn't come through a traditional hockey pipeline, playing single-A hockey in Aurora at a time when scouts focused exclusively on AAA. He proved that determination and talent can overcome expectations. Tonight, we proudly induct Shane Stevenson into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Shane's hockey journey led him to become the first-round NHL draft pick of the Boston Bruins before joining the inaugural Tampa Bay Lightnings in 1992. His junior career was equally impressive. While starring for both the London Knights and Kitchener Rangers, he led the OHL playoffs in scoring in 1989 and captured the Memorial Cup scoring title. Beyond his achievements on the ice, Shane's Indigenous heritage represents an important and inspiring part of this story. As just the 7th Mohawk player to compete in the NHL, he has continued supporting Indigenous youth and mentoring young athletes through hockey and outdoor programs connected with Little Native Hockey League and the York Regional Police initiatives. Today, Shane continues giving back through youth mentorship and his fishing charter experiences that help connect young people to sport, life skills, and community. Tonight, we celebrate a trailblazer whose journey continues to inspire future generations. Tonight's next recognition represents a truly historic moment for the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. For the very first time in our organization's history, we are officially including a team into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame as part of our newly established team category, a category that now will be celebrated every even-numbered year moving forward. Because while individual accomplishments deserve recognition, there are also moments when a collective group of athletes, volunteers, leaders, and teammates leave an impact so significant that their story must be preserved together. And tonight, we proudly celebrate the inaugural team inductees into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Please welcome the Aurora Church Dodgers. Founded in 1967 with the opening of Aurora's new arena on Orchard Heights Drive, the Church Dodgers became the first old-timers hockey team in Aurora and only second of its kind in Ontario. Their legendary name came from an equally legendary Sunday morning ice slot from 11 to noon, which much of the community was attending church services. Over the next 31 years, the Church Dodgers helped shape old-timers hockey culture throughout the region. They became a founding team in the York Old Timers Hockey League in 1975 and helped build friendships, camaraderie, and that extended far beyond the rink. Their story even reached international stage in 1974 during a period when Canada had withdrawn from international hockey competition. The Church Dodgers traveled to Sweden to represent Canada in the World Hockey Tournament. Through their history, they continued to countless community fundraisers, tournaments, and charitable initiatives while helping strengthen Aurora's connection with Leksand, Sweden. Tonight, as our inaugural team category inductees, we celebrate not simply a hockey team, but a group that helped define community spirit, friendship, and the culture of hockey in Aurora for generations. Everyone is invited to mark their calendars for the annual induction celebration evening on November 5th at the Royal Venetian. Join us as we honor and celebrate this year's inductees in an evening filled with recognition, memories, and community spirit. We are delighted to welcome back the renowned MC Rod Black, who will once again help make this special occasion both memorable and inspiring. We look forward to celebrating with you all. On behalf of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame, thank you for joining us as we unveiled the class of 2026 inductees. Tonight, we celebrate more than athletic achievement. We celebrated dedication, perseverance, leadership, and the pursuit of excellence. The individuals and teams we honored have not only achieved remarkable success in their respective sports, but they also helped shape the rich sporting culture and proud heritage of this community. As we welcome these newest inductees into the hall, of our roster of honored members continues to grow, each one representing a unique chapter in Aurora's sporting history. We encourage you to visit our website at aurorashof.ca to learn more about these individuals and to explore the many stories that have helped define our sport in the community. But our work does not stop here. Somewhere in our community today, there's a young athlete chasing a dream, a coach dedicating countless hours to developing others, a volunteer quietly making a difference behind the scenes, or a team achieving something truly extraordinary. We rely on you, our community, to help us identify and celebrate these remarkable individuals and teams by submitting nominations for future induction classes. Together, we have the privilege and responsibility of preserving Aurora's sporting history, celebrating its present, and inspiring in future. Thank you for your continued support of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations once again to our class of 2026 inductees. May their stories remind us that excellence is simply not measured by victories, but by the lasting impact they leave on others. Thank you and have a wonderful evening, and let us continue to celebrate the power of sport to inspire generations to come. Please.
Thank you, gentlemen. Council, can I get a motion to approve the presentation? Councilor Weiss, Councilor Gilliland. Any questions? Councilor Weiss.
Thank you both for coming here. It's a great slate of inductees. I'm sorry Paul couldn't be here. He's had some health problems, but he phoned me and wanted to make sure to thank everybody for the consideration for the event, because he's thrilled and proud to be a part of the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. Thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. What can I say? Joe, George, Paul, Shane, as well as the Aurora Church Dodgers. You know what? All of you, and not only have you guys excelled and done so many incredible things in the fields that you guys are representing, but you guys have done a lot for the community. We appreciate everything that each and every one of you have done for our community because it showcases what you can do when we come together. And, as was mentioned, it's the future generations that are going to see what you've done for our community, and they're going to excel to achieve the same, and if not better. And that's because of each and every one of you. And, we do have the greatest Hall of Fame, I think, in Ontario. And you know what? It's because of all of you. I'm looking at all the red jackets, the blue jackets, the volunteers, everyone that gets involved. And it's because of all of you that we have this great organization that is able to showcase the incredible talent, the incredible people that we have in our community. And so I thank you, Javed. I thank the entire board. I thank everyone here. And I'm looking forward to that celebration on November 5th, where we get to hear each and every one of your stories. I'm sure they're going to be funny. There's going to be some jokes in there. I'm sure I can already picture what Joe's going to say, but congratulations to each and every one of you, and we'll see you November 5th. Thank you. Council, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. You guys can stay if you want. Council and members of, I apologize, I have to leave. So I am going to be passing the chair to Councillor Gilliland at this moment. Have a good meeting, everyone.
For delegations, right? This one by one, 5 minutes. Sorry? Put that on. Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, next order of business. We have some delegations. We have 6 tonight. So we're going to start the first off with Thalia Avgousti. She's a resident from My Ability is Stronger Than My Disability. So please come on up. If you could please just state your name and remind you that you have 5 minutes to speak.
My name is Thalia Avgousti, and I say that I am 5 minutes.
Yep, you have 5 minutes to speak, so go ahead and you can speak.
Good evening, member of Council. Before I begin, I will be Blvd present an additional 5 minutes for my presentation for a total of 10 minutes. Due to my deep disability, the additional time will allow me to present effectively. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Thalia. I shall ask members of council now. May I get a motion to extend? Councillor Weiss, second by Councillor Gallo. All those in favor? Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead. You have 10 minutes.
Thank you. This presentation is about being ability, being included, being capacity by sharing my story. My name is Thalia Avgousti. You are probably wondering why I thought this way. I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. It affects the movement in my hands, legs, and made my speech. me and someone who is different than you. Disability does not mean inability. When you focus on someone's disability, you will overlook their ability. Don't turn a disability by invisibility. And sometimes disabilities are invisible. I may walk, talk, and move differently than you, but on the inside, I'm no different than you. The key is being that both of the disability have to overcome all limited expectations. People often underestimate capabilities that inspire some and mental capacity safely full of what individuals with disability can achieve. I want the same thing as you. And to go along and feel clear to add value and dignity to society. Sometimes, both disability and attributes to be successful. Through argumentation, because equality is sometimes not enough. It can be really hard and challenging to live in my disability. And sometimes in life, like you can make a big time and see. But it won't stop me from trying to reach my goal by wanting all to reach my full potential. What does it mean to reach my full potential? To become the best one can be with all work and perseverance. With turning impossible into possible, allowing me to integrate into a amazing program and putting my passion and career in all kind of engagement. How I see Blvd living in disability, I surround myself with Blvd people. I look for the Blvd on Blvd in life. I accept myself. I have an open mind and discover and see new possibilities. I believe in myself. Blvd help me to accept me for who I am. I don't hide my disability. I focus on self-acceptance for people self-improvement. I don't compare myself to others, but focus on myself and my goal. Focus on what I can do, on what I can do. I don't limit myself by ways to go outside my comfort zone, to challenge myself. Focus on my ability, not my disability. Not manage myself against anyone else, but against my own goal. I can't be able to go and learn from my mistakes to get better. And finally this. I joined the vaccine, so I be outreach, archery, soccer, basketball, baseball, and not okay. I joined the band team, but I feel participating in team so by Delegations matches, so judging, track and field, hope by Tina, and not okay. Then I found my passion and key in swimming. Jonah, I get to develop the gym team to be an author and came in bed for the Pecuniary and one unino Picana in Ontario. And I found my passion and key in community government. My disability anonymity from employment and environment, the beauty and diversity of our world. The beauty of diversity in our world lay in all our citizens. And not into disability. After attending therapy all my life, I want to get back to the community, to be a role model, and see people that even though we have a disability, we can feel and have an happy and productive life with joy happy like anyone else. We are all unique in being with variety ability. Everyone we meet is fun and individual banner. We can all be younger. I hope to my presentation I am inspired you to believe in yourself, to be evil potential, whether you have disability or not. Being awareness and ensuring your baptism and inclusivity to make our you, workplaces, and community a better place. Born and raised in Aurora, there is my choice to set began. A community that saw my ability before my disability. The ability of education program I participated in helped me overcome challenges, meet manager, build resilience, and achieve my full potential. I am grateful to the town of Aurora for believing in me and going that with including accessibility and support anything impossible.
You're done? Okay. That's a great speech. Thank you. Thank you very much, Thalia. That was very inspiring, very inspiring. If you would just stay there for a moment, I'm going to ask council if they have any questions. May I have a motion to receive the delegation tonight? Councillor Weiss, second by Councillor Kim. Any comments or questions for the delegate? Councillor Weiss?
Tonight. You're an example of ability and confidence and courage. You've inspired everybody here tonight, I'm sure. I know I am. And I look forward to watching you thrive as you continue on this journey that you're on. I'm just so impressed with what you've done. So thanks very much for coming and helping us.
Do you have any comments? Councillor Gallo?
Thank you. Wow, I did not expect that this evening, and I'm incredibly excited to see you throughout your journey, in particularly your highlight of the town of Aurora and what our programming has done for you. We need to hear those things. And I'm glad you brought it to our attention from your perspective, how valuable that was in your life. So thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And again, we look forward to sharing in your successes.
Councillor Kim?
Thank you. You know, in a world where we have so many people who feel entitled, you're a breath of fresh air, where, you know, you expect nothing, but you exceed all the challenges and obstacles in front of you. So we're grateful to hear your testimony, and you know, thank your parents and the family who supported you and raised you, you know, the way you are, which is phenomenal. My one question for you, Madam Chair, is sounds like you're, and it looks like you're an excellent swimmer. How did you get into that sport when it seems like you could probably have gone into any sport?
And to be honest, I got it for fun, and I wanted to ride the you. So I started swimming, and I did not realize that I am presenter.
Thank you very much. And I think I'm going to try to go swimming this weekend myself.
Thank you, Councillor Kim. Councillor Gartner?
I would like to express my appreciation and respect to your parents and family for making you such a confident person. And we will be following what else you do.
My family have been a big part of my success in my life.
Yes, and I think I see them here tonight behind you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Councillor Gartner. Thalia, thank you so much. Just want to say I'm truly inspired by your story, your journey. I think you've traveled to more places than I have. And you've probably played more sports than I have. So very inspiring. And, you know, I do love how you say you surrounded yourself by positive people. You really, truly believed in yourself and you focused on what you can do, not what you can't. So there's a lot of positive words there, especially for everyone. So thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we have a second delegation, 6.2, Mr. Shawn Deane. This is regarding item 10.2, CS 26013, restricted acts during the election of a new council. If you could please state your name, but remind you have 5 minutes.
Yes, good evening, council and staff and those in attendance. My name is Shawn Deane, and I'm here with some questions on behalf of my community group, Budget Voice Aurora, regarding agenda item 10.2, the restricted acts during the election of a new council. It is also known as the lame duck law. The purpose of this bylaw is to transfer authority for purchasing and hiring from council to staff during the 86 days of the upcoming election period between August 21 and November 17th to ensure continuity of town business. And a familiar request was made 4 years ago. However, it did not include the modifications for the strong mayor powers that exist today. The parts of this bylaw which define spending limits for staff might be reasonable. However, they are redundant since council has already transferred these authorities previously for procurement levels, as well as approving the entire 2026 capital budget authority of $63 million, and an extra $25 million increase was included in that, plus the recent increases for Victoria Hall and the multi-use path. And therefore, there should be no further budget increases required by staff if they exercise budget discipline. So my first question for staff is, can these redundant sections be removed, knowing that staff already received these authorities previously, which leaves council available to make decisions that are deemed necessary during this period, which is permissible under the Act? And why can't these requests be mitigated with budget discipline and exercising good project management skills, which provide ample time before August 21 for each project to determine whether or not more funds are required? Can a competent project manager not wait 86 days without requesting new funding? The entire capital budget itself is based upon forecasting 10 years out. So why can't a project manager forecast 1 year out? Lastly, there is an unintended effect every time council delegates high-level spending authority away to staff. It essentially transfers spending authority to unelected employees whose priority is to complete their project, not contain cost. And this is typically results in taxpayers paying higher taxes, user fees, and water bills to cover the over-budget expenses in the capital budget, which is also known as the funding gap. Additionally, it is harder for taxpayers to hold staff accountable for a poor decision at election time versus their own ward councillor. So if we're unhappy with something that happens during the 86 days of the election period going over budget, then it's hard to get necessarily hold a councillor accountable. We have to hold an unelected representative accountable, an employee. Therefore, from a taxpayer over budgeting risk perspective, I would like to ask council to consider the positive impact of not approving this bylaw as written. As everyone is aware, over budgeting, accountability, and transparency has become a hot topic within our community as a result of the Victoria Hall project. And until more answers are provided, I feel it is the wrong time to be granting additional budget authority to staff at this time. Additionally, we're in a national affordability crisis, and our own Prime Minister has now declared we're in a technical recession. So with half of the population, living paycheck to paycheck, going over budget is an innocent thing, perhaps in staff's mind, but it has a negative impact on the taxes. What happens is user fees are forced to go up so we can transfer those funds to the capital budget. So, and another example here, and it might not be intended, but the multi-use path is a $7.5 million project. 15% of that is over $1 million. So there's a cap of 15%. And Councillor Kim believes that, there should be, well, with Victoria Hall specifically, that there should be, off ramps for these projects. But council has not set limits yet for this. So for staff to all of a sudden spend an extra $1 million on a multi-use path might sound innocent, but it's going to have a negative. That's greater than, the tax increase of $1.5 million. So those are my concerns. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Deane. You're right on time there. Perfect. May I get a motion to receive the delegation? Councillor Weiss, second by Councillor Gallo, any comments or questions for the delegate tonight? Seeing none? Can I get a motion? Yep, motion? Motion to no, we don't do a motion. Oh, we're gonna vote on the motion. Sorry, we're gonna vote on receiving it. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Deane. Okay, so we have a third delegate, Mr. John Hartman, resident, regarding item 11.1 FIN 26-024. This is regarding the council conference review and reporting framework.
Thank you very much. I thought I was motivated by the inductees of the Aurora Sport Hall of Fame. I've heard a lot of kids in my career through Children's Miracle Network talk about inspirational stories, and that was one motivational story from Thalia. And I'm committed to standing behind this council in the town for what she did. So thank you very much, members of council, staff, and attendees. I'm grateful for your time this evening. I'm here to share a couple of observations regarding the staff report by Con Nacer on the council conference review and reporting framework that followed a motion set out on April 28th. I'm not 100% convinced that the financial analysis is fair comparative analysis without knowing the specifics of the paid conference, event, or seminar, namely its specific location, type of travel taken, meals and accommodations. In the analysis, travel could be affected by destinations or departure. For example, there's a 121-kilometer distance should one leave from Kitchener or Markham if the destination is Ottawa. Variables also include if you stay at the Marriott versus the Days Inn. Having Aurora 20% lower in expenses than its peer average looks on the surface, yet I believe it needs some additional context. Nevertheless, at least one can assume we are embarking on fiscal responsibility. As noted in the report's conclusion, participation and fiscal prudence are foundational aspects of accountability, good governance, and positive impacts for the town and its residents. However, let me make a couple suggested changes should this report and template be finalized. The draft external report template is extremely well done. I might suggest it also include a question asking how many other council members attended that same conference or event. This way, when summaries and reports are made public, people will know exactly how many other council members attended that same event. It might be a promising start for the idea of transparency. Secondly, when travel is completed and said council member returns, he or she should have no more than 2 weeks to complete their report and submit to staff for record keeping. This way, the report would be up to date and have more accurate information in timely fashion. Personally, I disagree with completing the template would be an administrative burden. It's pretty straightforward as noted in the staff report. Finally, and based on me speaking to over a dozen community members, including several council and staff, it to be noted that no council member should attend such an event or conference at the town of Aurora's expense should that person declare they are not running for council in the next election. That window on non-attendance should be no more than 6 months. I accept that a person has until the end of August of an election year to declare their notification or their intentions, but should an event, conference, or seminar occur within that period that they attend, and then they declare they are not running, the town of Aurora should seek ways to have the funds fully reimbursed. It is somewhat shameful that someone would leverage town funds for their own gain without any benefit to the town nor its taxpayers. Thank you for your generous time this evening and your considerations.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman. If I may get a motion to accept the comments of the delegate. Councillor Weiss, Councillor Kim, any questions or comments? Councillor Gartner.
Thank you, Mr. Hartman, for coming to the podium. I definitely agree with you about the post events. To have them a couple times a year, they need to be presented as soon as possible after someone has attended a conference, because we all need the information and it needs to be current. I thank you for that. So what do you see missing from this report?
Can you repeat the question, Councillor?
So what, I know you've looked at this report thoroughly. Do you see anything missing from this?
So
report?
I think, again, in the report, there should be two questions. One question should be, how many other council members attended the same event? So it's just a simple list. I think that the town deserves the knowledge that 4, 5, or 6 members were all at the same conference. And then when their takeaways are shared, are we getting 4, 5, 6 different opinions? Or did we simply have, in my opinion, possibly overkill? Too many people in one room. It's just a question that I think should be on the report.
Thank you. It is, I mean, in some ways, it is a lot of people going to the same conference, but on the other hand, we need to allow people to be educated. Yes, but
For that conference. And for many reasons, those conferences are big events, so there should be reasons to be spread out. But we also know that sometimes when we attend conference, we looked over our left or over our right and then right down the center, and we've got the same people sitting in the same room. It's not very good use of time.
I believe you had another point. Sorry about the last.
Mr. Hartman, we could just allow Councillor to finish her comment.
I believe you had another comment about in the last 6 months of a term, generally we shouldn't go to conferences, or?
You're going to, within those 6 months prior to the close of an election year, and then you declare that you are not running for council, you should be under the obligation to pay the town back. Common sense to me. You know your intention, you know you're not running. You should have to pay the town back for those services.
Yes, I mean,
Excuse me,
that's
sorry.
very
I'm just going to
interesting.
interject here because we're going back and forth a little bit. So if we could just stick to the report, that would be great. And through the chair would be great. Councillor Gartner?
But I'm speaking to the
I understand.
delegation.
That's fine. We just need to go through the chair.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
So it's not only Mayor Maracus that I forgot to acknowledge. My
That's
apology.
okay.
Yes, and I think, I mean, ideally, I don't think anybody should be allowed to go to a conference in the last 6 months of a term. But sometimes people don't know when they're not going to run, because you don't have to, I think you have till the end of August to declare. But it's a very interesting idea. Thank you very much for raising it. I shall think on it. Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Gartner. Any other comments or questions for the delegate? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay, so delegation 6.4, we have Leta Dayfoot resident regarding item 14.2 PDS 26-056, and it's the application for OPA and ZPA 16003 Yonge Street, 255 and 219 Old Yonge. If you wouldn't mind, please state your name and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of council. My name is Leta Dayfoot, and I'm here to speak on agenda item number 14.2, application for official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment for 16003 Yonge Street and 295 and 219 Old Yonge Street. Mr. Kamel and his team have successfully mitigated the impacts of this development with respect to heritage preservation, environmental protection, amenity provisions, and soft landscaping, while efficiently balancing the concerns from the surrounding community and their own financial benefit needs within this development process. One of these balances is clearly demonstrated in the architect's set back design of the 4th and 5th floor in response to residents' concerns of a 5-story built form within the surrounding stable community. However, the town's justification of a 5-story complex in this corner of town, on the mere premise it sits on the Yonge Street Regional Corridor, while ignoring key fundamental principles in the town's official plan, is unbalanced. This unbalanced approach disregards the real impacts and trade-offs for both current and future residents. First, please let me briefly point out the key OP fundamental principles which appear to be overlooked. Promoting responsible growth management, connecting the transportation network, protecting stable neighborhoods, providing sustainable infrastructure. I will quote the next fundamental principle as it is brief and directly applies to this situation: providing vibrant new neighborhoods. It is the intent of this plan to create well-designed, attractive, and sustainable urban residential neighborhoods that are integrated with the existing community in a logical, compatible, efficient, and cost-effective manner. Now, let's take a look at what constitutes a regional corridor. That arbitrary line 100 meters from the center of Yonge Street distinguishes the corridor boundary, which permits heights of 5-story, something which was questioned and debated with this development, as over 80% of the building form lies outside of this boundary. However, secondly, one of the main regional corridor policies is walkability, pedestrian connectivity, whereby building developments fronting Yonge Street must include an uninterrupted walkway from the main entrance of the building to sidewalks on Yonge Street. This point does not have to be debated, as sidewalks do not exist on Yonge Street. So I pose the question: how the town can justify a 5-story building solely on the premise it is on the Yonge Street corridor, while ignoring key fundamental principles in the town's official plan. Key fundamental principles properly adhered to, which would have resolved the valid concerns of surrounding residents and community. I am a realist. Even if the development is brought forth to the OLT, it will be approved, as the Aurora Development Department has reported no substantial objections to this development. So here we are. To correct this cart before the horse type development process, the town must now prioritize strategic planning to guarantee that adequate infrastructure is in place prior to occupancy, aligning the completion of this development with the readiness of local infrastructure along Yonge and Old Yonge Street is vital to safeguarding the well-being of all residents and the community. Prove to our community, both today and for generations to come,
if we could just wrap this up,
that our town council today is dedicated and committed to managing growth responsibly and sustainably. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Dayfoot. I may have a motion to receive and refer the comments. Councillor Weiss, second by Councillor Gallo. Any questions or comments for the delegate? Councillor Weiss?
Thanks, Mr. Dayfoot. It's we appreciate the time and effort you put into this. I know you as a person who likes to look at those details, and you're an advocate for your community. So I want to thank you for coming here. I will tell you that the item on the agenda will be pulled, and we'll have a conversation about the corridor and the how the corridor is understood to be interpreted. I'm like with you. I like the notion of walkability and the pedestrian issue. We've talked about sidewalks and crosswalks there before, so we'll also be talking about that tonight. And of course, the planning department will be able to identify the issues around infrastructure that you brought forward. So I want to thank you for bringing those to the table, and we'll bring them forward later on.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. Thank you. Councillor Gardner?
Thank you for coming forward. Obviously, you've done a lot of research, and I know how much time and sometimes frustration that takes. I also have a concern about the regional corridor and have had in other planning applications as well. So thank you for raising that.
Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Any other questions or comments? No, seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Delegation 6.5, Conan Lear, resident, in regards to the same item 14.2, 16003 Yonge Street, 2255 and 219 Old Yonge. Same location. Please state your name and you have 5 minutes.
Glasses on or glasses off. I'm not sure how this is going to go. Hi, Madam Chair, members of council and people in the room. I'm going to try and keep this short. Most of the rationalization for this change, the zoning change, is based on the assumption that this meets regional corridor requirements and does not affect established neighborhoods.
Mr. Lear, if I may just interrupt, could we just have you raise the podium just a little bit so we can hear you a little bit better? That's great. Thank you. Yeah.
So I'm against this because of the regional corridor assumption and the fact that it, in my opinion, affects the established neighborhood in the area. For example, across the street from this 5-story building is a single-story home. I wanted to focus today on being proactive versus being reactive. I feel like this is a recurring issue with the town, and we can look around the town in terms of development. We can look at 65 St. John's Side Road, which has now had its trees cleared. A permit was granted for that, but the final building on that site has not yet been approved. We look at industrial in Wellington and we see a hole in the ground where buildings have been torn down, but nothing has started being built. Yonge and Wellington has another example of this. Very much, I've sat here for nearly 4 years and listened to decisions that are very, very reactive, and it would be a good start for the town to try and be more proactive. So in terms of this building, I picked one example of something we could be more proactive on if we're going to make decisions this way. I went through the staff report, which council gets to see, and I highlighted transportation and traffic. That agency has said no objections. Sometimes it's what's not in the wording that is more important than the actual wording. This does not say approved. That says no objections. So you kind of wonder what they thought about at the time. What I do know is further down, it says public comments, and there's a list of public comments, maybe 5. We were all here many times listening to public comments, and there were more than 5. The one I want to pick on is traffic and walkability. That was mentioned. We were all there. I'm pretty sure we all remember. That is not mentioned here. You kind of got to wonder what else staff chose not to put in this report. When it comes to that location, Leta did a great job of explaining how walkability is important. Old Yonge Street, we do not have traffic studies on. I've gone back and forth with the town. The town feels this is the responsibility of residents to raise. We have raised this. The process is 75% of residents need to sign a petition. So what we have here is town making a decision without the data. It's my perspective that if this is going to happen, the town should prioritize a traffic study on the town's dime for the town, from the town's perspective. I live on the street, and I can tell you it's not a safe street to cross. So now we have a 5-story building with a half-meter border before the street, potential street, where we're expecting people to find a way with only 1 car per unit, 1 parking space per unit. So they're not driving. We want them to walk. We want them to bike ride. They cannot get connected to any other sidewalk from that building, even on Old Yonge Street, despite Leta's comment about there supposedly to be sidewalks onto Yonge Street. Now, the town can sit behind the fact that 2 corners of that property is York Region and not our responsibility. Those residents are. So is Old Yonge Street. We should provision and we should build that sidewalk as part of, if we are to approve this, it should be part of that approval of zoning to have those sidewalks put in place. That's all I have for town council today. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate your delegation, Mr. Lear. May I have a motion to receive the delegation? Councillor Gallo, second by Councillor Kim. Any comments or questions for the delegate? Councillor Gartner?
Hello there, and yes, there is a lot of traffic there already. There's a lot of people who live there. It is very hard to cross that street. And I agree with your points. And I think we don't usually, when we do our public planning, we don't usually consider sidewalks. But obviously it's very important. We are doing a sidewalk study. We just heard that at the traffic committee. It's just at its beginning stage, and it would be something like this would probably be covered in it. And the deficiency noted, but we're not 100% sure that that's true. So it's very important to raise this at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gartner. Councillor Weiss?
Yes, thanks, Madam Chair. And Conan, thanks very much. We've had these conversations a few times, and I know that you've been following this application since its inception. I am interested, and you've asked about the no objections versus approved, and I will, when that comes forward, as it's going to be pulled today, I'm going to ask about that so that question gets answered. You mentioned about a traffic study, and were you talking about a traffic study on Old Yonge, a traffic calming measure, or are you talking about the traffic study that the York Region has already done on that? Could you enlighten me on that?
Mr. Lear?
Through you, Chair. I think York Region has not done a traffic study for Old Yonge Street and that building specifically. I think it's incumbent on the town to ensure that a comprehensive traffic study is done for a building that is going to be so significant and have such a lot of residents. They should work Yonge, St. John's, and Old Yonge Street.
Okay, just thanks. I just wanted the clarification about the need for a traffic study, and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Whether traffic calming, in my mind, because we've had this discussion before, traffic calming is a different issue, not related to this building. The problem here is the safety of the pedestrians and the fact that there isn't a sidewalk. And I'm guessing people might think you don't need a sidewalk if there's 0 cars, because that's the data we have at the moment.
No, we're all believing in walkability and the ability of pedestrians to walk safely around the neighborhoods and out of the neighborhoods. And I agree with you that there's some work that needs to be done with sidewalks. And I'm very interested in crosswalks as well, because if you're on that side of the street and you don't have a safe way to get across the other side of the street, then we're in jeopardy. So I want you to thank you for bringing all those to the attention publicly, but we'll have a conversation about it later. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Lear. Okay, delegation 6.6, Anna Strungar, resident, regarding the same item on Yonge Street, 16003 Yonge Street, 255 and 219 Old Yonge Street. Please state your name. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Anna Strungar, and I'm a resident of 549 Tower Hill Circle, directly adjacent on the south side of the proposed development at 1603 Yonge Street, 219-255 Old Yonge Street. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight regarding the proposed development. First, I want to acknowledge that the applicant has revised the proposal since the November 18, 2025 public meeting. The reduction from 152 to 148 units, increased setbacks, additional landscaping, and efforts to preserve cedar trees demonstrate that there was an effort to listen to the community concerns. However, despite these revisions, I remain concerned that the proposal still represents an over-intensification of a site directly adjacent to a stable, low-rise established neighborhood. The core issue remains unchanged. This is still a 5-story apartment building immediately beside an established 1 to 2-story residential community. In my opinion, the proposed transition remains incompatible with the existing and well-established character of the neighborhood. Planning policy repeatedly speaks about compatibility and sensitive transition between intensification corridors and stable residential neighborhoods. In this case, I believe the transition is still too abrupt. Even with increased setbacks and landscaping improvements, the massing, overlook, rooftop amenity areas, balconies, and height will permanently alter the privacy, light, and residential character of the local community. I would also remind Council that a petition and numerous objections from residents were previously submitted during the November 18, 2025 planning process. These concerns were not based on opposition to all development. Most residents understand Aurora is growing and that intensification will occur in appropriate locations. The concern is about the scale, intensity, and precedent being created in this specific location. I also remain concerned about the cumulative impact this proposal may have on traffic, parking pressures, noise, and overall quality of life within the surrounding neighborhood. Tower Hill Circle and nearby local roads were designed to serve a low-density residential community, and I question whether the existing infrastructure can appropriately accommodate a development of this scale without creating additional strain on the area. In my opinion, a lower-rise development would be more appropriate and more compatible with the surrounding neighborhood character. I'm also concerned about the adequacy of the proposed setbacks. While the applicant has increased setbacks since the original submission, the separation distances still appear limited considering the scale of a 5-story building directly beside existing homes. The proposal requests numerous site-specific reductions and exceptions, including reduced setbacks, reduced landscaping widths, reduced parking standards, reduced driveway dimensions, and permissions for encroachments near environmental protection lands. Individually, these reductions may appear minor. Collectively, they represent a significant relaxation of established planning standards in order to maximize density on a constrained site. This raises an important question. If this level of intensification and exception is approved beside an established low-rise neighborhood, what precedent does that create for other stable residential areas in Aurora? I respectfully ask the Council to carefully reconsider whether this proposal truly achieves appropriate compatibility, transition, and balance between intensification objectives and neighborhood protection. That's it for today. Thank you. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. May I have a motion to receive? Councillor Weiss, second by Councillor Gallo. Any questions or comments for the delegate? Councillor Weiss.
Thanks again, and it's good to see the people in that area coming forward with such good delegations, looking at the reports and trying to understand them. We'll go through them when this comes forward in council today. We've made some notes, and I'm just thankful that you've come forward and given your ideas about whether this is appropriate or not. So we'll deal with each one of them as we come forward a little bit later. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Thank you very much, Anna. Appreciate it. Okay, well, that closes our delegation portion for the evening. So we shall move to the advisory committee meeting minutes. May I have a motion to receive the minutes of the Accessibility Advisory Committee? Councillor Weiss, second by Councillor Gallo. Any comments or questions for the advisory meeting minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Consent agenda. Are there any items that would like to be pulled for consent agenda for discussion? If not, I'm going to call a motion to, yeah, items 8. Councillor Weiss, okay, so which items would you like to have pulled? Okay, any other items to be pulled? Nope, just 8s. We're just doing consent agenda. All right, seeing none. So may I get a motion to approve 8.1 of the LSRCA board highlight meeting minutes? A motion to approve? Councillor Weiss? Councillor Gallo, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Councillor Weiss, 8.2, you pulled this. Did you want to move, it's just for information? You have a comment? Just a comment, right? This is just for information purposes.
It's really about a question about communication, because this is about election and there's discussions in there about communication. So this is probably through you to Mrs. Smith here. Are there any messaging that you have in there that are directly related towards recruitment of voters? We've had low voter turnouts, and I didn't really see anything that was directed at messaging to get more voters out. Is there an intent to have that done through you, Madam Chair?
Through you, Chair, to the Councillor Weiss. Yes, we have an extensive communications campaign that has about 9 different phases, including some internal messaging and external. And one of those phases is to target voters directly. So you'll see that roll out later this summer.
Thanks. That's just all I wanted to hear, is to and let the public know that things are going to be coming out to remind them to get out and vote. That's it for me. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. Any other comments from anybody on the floor? No. Perfect. I didn't have that second, so Councillor Weiss, could I have somebody else? You pulled that, so Councillor Gardner, you second that? Okay, and do you have a comment as well? No? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay, Councillor Weiss, 8.3, you pulled that. Can I have a seconder for that as well? Councillor Gardner, okay, go ahead. Councillor Weiss.
A question that's probably through you to the treasurer. I think this report simply can be explained to tell us, because we've spent and grown over a number of years, that the tax levy for the next term is to be increased over time to twice what it is now for asset management to approach our needs to manage our infrastructure and facilities. Is that essentially what this report is about, is to tell us that our asset management fund reserves have been depleted, and you're giving us a bit of a warning that in order to top it up the way it should be, that we're going to have an increased tax levy from 1% to 2% in the coming years, through you to the treasurer?
Ms. Wainwright-Pencastle.
Through Madam Chair. So the portion of the levy is not the whole levy that is looking at increasing. It's just that fiscal strategy component, which includes all our contributions to capital. For us to actually start addressing the capital backlog and getting to a level that is more sustainable for addressing our ongoing asset management needs, we would need to do an increase to levy. And this is recommending a strategy to be able to get the town there. It's not that reserves have been depleted. It's just that we are not at the stage where we are actually collecting enough in the tax funds to be able to deal with our ongoing asset management needs. So in the last few budgets, we've not been able to include all the asset management work that we've needed to.
Okay, great. I just wanted the public to know that that was on the docket for future time. That's all I have for that day. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. Councillor Gardner.
Thank you. I've been concerned about this since I think it's the budget a couple of years ago, where it said that we were short 55.3, 53.5 million in our repair and replacement fund, which is for town infrastructure. Don't believe an alarm was raised in that report because I was very concerned about a reduced service level that would come about if we didn't have enough money in our reserve fund to ensure all of our town infrastructure is kept in good repair or replaced. So I think this is an excellent report. I'm glad that it was pulled. I think that when we kept our taxes, I know everybody talks about taxes. I apologize. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a renter, but I pay taxes through my rental charge. Before the last election, I think we were at 2.4. I think this election we're at 2.4. We usually have kept to 3% increase in our taxes. We have to pay for our services. We have to pay for the quality of life we want. We have to pay for climate change remediation and so many other things. So when people talk about taxes, we've been charging 3%, except for those 2 election periods, and it's not smart. We're not going to be happy with the increases that we'll have to have in the future if we don't do this now. And I believe through you, Madam Chair, I believe how many years is this plan for? We're going to slowly increase the amount we give to our reserves, which of course that comes from the taxes of the taxpayers, but we're not going to do it in 1 year. How many years are we going to take to make sure that our reserve fund, especially repair and replacement, although we may be calling it something else now, but how many years are we going to take?
Ms. Wainwright Van Cussel?
Through you, Madam Chair, our estimate is at this point in time with this plan, it would take 15 years.
Councillor?
Thank you, through Madam Chair. 15 years to get up to a point where we feel we have enough money to ensure we can do all the repair and replacement, et cetera, work that the taxpayers need. But we will be, the funding gap is annual funding gap of $14.9 million a year. So what kind of increase that's a scary number, what kind of increase will the taxpayer see in the next 5 years, let's say? Through you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Wainwright Van Cussel, I realize that's probably a tough question and appreciate maybe your answer will be a little generalized.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, I don't have the numbers at the top of my head as to what the tax levy would on average equate to. But an annual increase of about 2% would be probably very close to what the tax levy increase on the bill is this year, because our budget was about 2.2% this year. So it'd be very similar to that.
Thank you. Thank you. I was wrong. It was even lower than I thought. And it is an election year. And I, through Madam Chair, I thank you very much, Ms. Rachel Wainwright Van Cussel, because I've been asking you about this for a long time. And I think you've been trying to, in your way, alert us for a long time. We need to take care of our town. There's no way around it. So hopefully our economy will improve and everybody will have great jobs. And I don't want to be facetious about that because some people do not have jobs. But anyway, sincere thank you for putting that on this report and for Councillor Weiss for pulling it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Councillor Gallo?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Councillor Gallagher, maybe some of our problems are overspending capital projects that perhaps shouldn't have been moved forward or cost more than anticipated. Notwithstanding that, through you, Madam Chair, to Ms. Wainwright Kessel. I think in the report, it says that a report will be coming at some point. Is the intent for a report to coincide with the next budget of the next term? Through you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Wainwright Kessel.
Through you, Madam Chair. So we're working very closely with the engineering team as well that is working on asset management. Ideally, we'd like to bring these as coordinated items together early in the next term with the next budget, so that the next council has that information before them while they're considering the levy for capital contributions.
Okay, so the intent is to come forward before the next town budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gallo. Any other councillors for the first time? No. Councillor Gartner, second time?
Through Madam Chair, I'd like to thank Councillor Gallo. He said what I didn't say. I don't believe Councillor Weiss said it either, that in my opinion, there has been overspending and waste in the system, et cetera. And I think Councillor Gallo has been trying to alert us to that for quite a long time. And this basically confirms some of the things he was saying. Just to repeat that, I think perhaps we have been living beyond our means in some cases.
Thank you, Councillor Gartner. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Item 4.2, grant update. Councillor Weiss, do you want to move to receive that? We were just receiving for information. You're going to move that? And seconder, Councillor Kim? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I pulled this simply because I was looking through it and I saw on page 3 of 7 states that we collected only about 20% of our expected DCs in 2025, and that some planned growth and infrastructure deferred or financed.
Councillor Weiss, we're talking about the grant update.
Grant update, sorry. That's why I asked about whether it was 4 or 5. Grant update, thank you. Same thing applies to motion and the rest of it. The grant update is really, I know that we require a lot of grants, and we actually brought a grant writer on last year. I can't recall exactly when the new grant writer came on, but what I haven't seen in here, you have an estimate of some of the grants that have not been realized as yet. Do you have you didn't have a amount of money in there? Could you tell us? And it may not be fair, and I could have gotten to you earlier today, but you have an approximate amount of money that we have in unrealized grants that you have in that report?
Ms. Wainwright Kessel?
For you, Mayor?
Thank you.
Chair.
Through you, Madam Chair. So the attachment in the end does identify the grants that we've applied for and the success we've had. But we've only had the dedicated grant position for a part of the year as of last year. So what we're planning on doing is in the next report, doing a bit more comprehensive comparisons between the years where we only had we didn't have a full-time grant writer to when we do, so we can actually show the progress of being able to apply for more grants and bring in more additional funds. It's a little bit difficult last year because while we brought someone additionally on, the person who's doing our grants was the one that was doing them before, but she had to pass along a lot of her other workload and help train the new person. So it was a bit of a transition in the second half of the year.
So through you, Madam Chair, there will be a report that has the full onboarding effects and all the rest of it of the new person coming on, be able to compare the effectiveness of the new grant program versus the old grant program. Is that what I heard through you, Madam Chair?
Ms. Wainwright Kessel?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, but once we actually have some data to be able to do that comparison.
And that'll be somewhere early in the new
term.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. Any other comments or questions? No, I just have one. Ms. Camp, I know that I had sent you an email about the Phragmites grant. I was hoping you had an update for me. So just to let everybody know before you answer, we had I had a motion a while ago about attacking the Phragmites invasive species within Aurora because it is a problem. and we were awarded a grant. So I just wanted to know, where that status is based on the report. So go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair. Today, actually, I got some information. I just hadn't had an opportunity to get back to you on that. We have applied for 2 different invasive species grants. Both of them we have not heard back formally from yet, whether we got approval. And we're looking to target some of the Phragmites in the David Tomlinson Nature Reserve, because obviously it's a very sensitive area and we'd like to keep it out of there. So both of them are aimed at doing some invasive work within that facility.
That's great news. I'm sure the Arboretum will be very happy about that. Thank you. Councillor Gartner, you have a comment?
Thank you. On page of 7, it says the town did not enter into any development charge deferral agreements under its York Region Development Incentives Collaboration.
So Gartner, we're talking about the grants.
I'm on the wrong one. I'm on 5 already.
We're under the grant update. That's the next one.
I'm already jumped the gun. Thank you.
So you're okay? Perfect. Any other comments or questions then? Meaning you didn't have any other comments. Okay, perfect. Any others? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Now we're at item 8.5, which is the 2025 year-end development charges statement. Councillor Weiss, you pulled this. Would you like to move it for information? Receive. Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Gartner, go ahead.
Page 3 of 7 seats, we collected a certain percentage of our DCs. But what the important thing that I want to ask through you to the treasurer is that it says that they will have to be deferred or financed. So what has been deferred or what has been financed in terms of amount, and what's the effect of this increased debt that we've assumed if we financed the DCs? Because it doesn't say the amounts that are in there, and I'm just curious to see what they are. Through you to the treasurer.
Miss Wainwright-Brencastle?
Through you, Madam Chair. So I don't have the actual amount totally that's outstanding in debt, but our annual debt repayment obligation for our DC funded debt is $1.15 million, and it's all parks and recreation DCs. And so the collections that we receive in those go towards the repayment of that debt. I will say it's a little bit challenging right now with the changes in provincial legislation resulting in DCs not being due on residential developments to occupancy has significantly slowed our collections. We have not received any residential development charges since October.
Okay. Thanks.
Councillor, you're good?
Answered.
Perfect. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Gartner?
Thank you. Back to the very long-winded title of this. Page 5 of 7, the town did not enter into any development charge deferral agreements under its York Region Development Incentives Collaboration Policy in 2025. When we did the affordable housing collaboration with the region, can you remind me, was that in 2024, 2025? Or maybe even, when was that?
Ms. Wainwright-Brencastle, do you recall? I thought it was in 2025, but you're mistaken.
When did the
Madam Chair, I
negotiation?
think it was prior to 25, but I have to check.
Thank you.
So maybe we'll get back to you afterwards for council, or offline. We'll get back to him.
No, I've asked the question at council, so I'd appreciate the answer at council.
I'm sure you'll
Thank
get the
you.
answer.
Thank you.
Is that all?
That's all. It's other than saying it's concerning. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gartner. Any other comments? I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Perfect. On to the committee agendas, items 9 through 14. Are there any items that council would like pulled for this evening? Councillor Weiss?
10-1.
Okay.
14-2. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. Councillor Gartner?
Thank you. I'd like 11.1 and 11.2 and 13.1. I'm going to call 14.1, but I'll do that next year, at the council meeting for recorded vote. And that's all. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right, so if I can get a motion to, oh, Councillor Gallo, apologies. Councillor Gallo.
Did we have 10-2?
Nope, not yet.
10-2, please. And do we have 14-3?
No, we do not.
14-3, please. And that's it for me.
Perfect. All right. If I can get a motion to approve 10.3, 13.2, 14.1, and 14.4. Councillor Kim, second by Councillor Weiss. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Item 10.1, Councillor Weiss, would you like to move the recommendation?
Yes, but I want to include the alternative number 2. You have 2 recommendations, number 1 and number 2. I'd like number 2.
Number 2?
Yeah, so we may want to put it up, but it's up to you.
Okay, well, I mean, we can choose to receive and then put that in after a discussion if you'd like, or did you want that up right away?
Might as well have it up right away to know where we're.
Just put
what
the
we're talking
alternative
about.
up, Madam Clerk.
Put that up.
Can I, and when we'll get a seconder on that, I don't know if somebody wants a second, if they want to wait till they see it's up. Okay, can I get a seconder? Councillor Gartner? Okay, Councillor Weiss, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank staff for the work that they've done in identifying the annual cost in year 1 and setting up the requisite staff and support needed, because that's what the first part of this was in the first place. And I know it's a difficult task because we're looking at other things such as other places such as Hamilton and Toronto, which aren't nearly the same size as we are. And the report states that the tenant support mechanism would cost 1/3 of the full service implementation. And they identified that this was a scaled estimate. So I thank them for that acknowledgement. The report acknowledges that this renoviction issue that has been implemented, most notably in Toronto and Hamilton, has had some difficulties. And I understand it's difficult in getting something started for the first time. Smaller municipalities, but still larger than Aurora, which are Ottawa, London, Kitchener, and Mississauga, are in various stages of studying this bylaw, which is really a tenant protection framework. But only Toronto and Hamilton have licensing regimes that I think we need. So overall assessment thus far suggests that these bylaws have been successful in increasing the scrutiny of renovation-based evictions, requirements for stronger proof that units must be vacated, improving tenant awareness and rights, and creating municipal enforcement mechanisms that didn't exist previously. So what the pilot seems to recommend is that through a part-time person working on this project, it may help the evicted tenants with their rights, but it does little else. I see value in that, but I don't think it goes far enough to protect the tenants by not creating increased scrutiny of renovation-based evictions, proof of vacancy, or enforcement provisions that would prevent renovictions. And when you look at the 19% of our population, or somewhere close to 18,000 people who live in rental units, then that's a significant number of people, and a significant number of our rental people that are under this veil, I suppose, of concern that a landlord could suddenly say, I want to increase the value of my property, renovate, evict people, and those people are out of their homes, and I don't think that's fair. So what I'm asking here in this is that we don't do the pilot, but we do hire a full-time contracted person by law enforcement or licensing officer and a part-time contract administrative support position to administer and support the pilot program, and that we bring back the bylaw in September or whenever it can be done in the next term. I will tell you that I'm really concerned about the urgency of this because we do have tenants in this community right now who are facing these kinds of evictions, and I want to protect them going forward in the future. This is about retaining our affordable rental stock, because typically what happens is the landlord will want to increase the value, and when they increase the value of the property, then what happens is that we lose affordability and our people have to move elsewhere. So that's my discussion about this, and I'll be happy to hear what my colleagues have to say about it as well.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. Is there any other comments or questions to this? Councillor Gartner?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I once got into trouble for implying that residents are at the mercy of their landlords, but in fact, it's true. Some renters are very lucky and have a long-standing relationship with the owners of their properties, and others don't. But it's always, in my opinion, possibly precarious. And so I thank Councillor Weiss because we need to protect renters. They deserve it. They deserve the respect of homeowners, and thanks. I agree. I seconded the motion and I will vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gartner. Councillor Gallo?
Thank you. Through you to either Councillor Weiss or staff. Can someone just put a timeline on this? I have no problems moving this forward, but I do have a problem, I guess, making decisions on behalf of the next council. That to me is not the right approach. We need to set the groundwork for this and have them have a full informed discussion on it so they can make a decision. If that's the intent, I'm fully in support of it. Through you, Madam Chair, too, I guess Councillor Weiss or staff, whoever.
Ms. DeSerio?
Through you, Madam Chair, Mr. Ray is on Zoom and he'd be able to respond to that.
Perfect. Mr. Ray?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, to Councillor Gallo. In terms of timelines, the thought process would be is that staff that we are requesting for the pilot project would help develop a proper and thorough program and implement the bylaw, given the scope of work that would be required to draft the bylaw and go through legal review processes and ensure that it was fair and comprehensive. I don't think that we would be able to deliver that by September. So that's essentially the timeline. It's dependent, I would say, on council's decision and the ability to draft the bylaw and bring it forward to what would potentially be the next term of council.
Councillor?
Okay, so the intent is for staff to move forward with a bylaw, and in that bylaw, we would be hiring one full-time, one part-time, as it is in the, we're not moving forward with the pilot project. Am I understanding correctly?
Mr. Ray?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Councillor Gallo. Staff's recommendation is that if council wishes to proceed, that we initiate this as a pilot project. So based on what Councillor Weiss is suggesting, I believe with alternative recommendation number 2, it would see the recruitment or onboarding of a full-time contract bylaw licensing enforcement officer and an administrative support part-time contract to support that pilot program. And that would give also the implementation of a bylaw and for appropriate data to be gathered and understanding the full scope before fully committing to that staffing complement and the bylaw in the long term.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. And just for clarity, I believe it's a pilot just for the part-time, not the actual full-time. Is that correct, Madam Chair? Is that how I'm understanding it? Through, or Ms. DeCerio?
Through you, Madam Chair. The one that was chosen by Councillor Weiss is actually not the pilot program. That is just a regular program. The pilot program was the initial alternative.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. I thought that the part-time was pilot, but one full-time, but I think that's changed since. Okay, perfect. So yeah, this is not a pilot program that has been brought forward. Councillor Weiss, was that your intention? Councillor Gallo, understood? Okay, perfect. Councillor Kim.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Aurora's tenants who receive the N13 notices and they don't fully understand what their options are. And they're navigating a provincial system that wasn't designed to be easy. Now, that's a problem. What this report is telling us, and staff has done an excellent job here, is that Aurora's numbers don't support the heavier approach. Our historical N13 volume is low, and that's actually good news, but it doesn't mean that we look the other way. The question isn't whether we act, it's whether we act in proportion to what's actually happening here versus what's happening in large municipalities with very different rental market dynamics. And I think in the end, I think we're all trying to, we all have the same objectives to help these residents. And through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Ray, my preference is for the pilot in option one. In your opinion, can we not reach the same objectives utilizing option one versus hiring a full-time bylaw officer and part-time contract personnel?
Mr. Ray?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Councillor Kim. I believe option one gives us a scaled and measurable approach, and it allows the town and staff to gather appropriate data and, if necessary, come back to council in the future for additional staffing complements to support the program based on volume. So I do believe that through option one, we would be able to accomplish supporting our residents and helping guide through the process in the absence of legislative framework. And it would also give bylaw services and the town some understanding as to what that call volume is actually going to look like should it turn to a licensing or an enforcement based approach.
Councillor?
Thank you. And so it's roughly 58 to 69,000, and that's a reasonable, responsible investment. It's with a defined scope and a built-in review point. I also want to mention that the building permit modification staff identified it costs us virtually nothing, gives us earlier visibility into displacement situations. It's hard to argue against. So I'd like to see that move forward alongside the pilot as a package. I'd love to support option two, but I think in the past, not in these similar situations, but we've always, or more often than not, we went with a pilot project, gained information, and then we made a more targeted decision after the pilot project. And I think the same would be wise here. And so right now, I'm not in favor of option two, but option one. But I think through option one, we can establish the same objectives. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kim. Councillor Weiss, second time.
Yes, thank you. And thanks for the comments around the table. I'm hearing different viewpoints on it. My only issue with going with number one is a matter of urgency. There are people who are on the bubble at this point right now. And if I read what option one is, well, let's review it. Let's talk about it. Let's take a look at what bylaws could be put in place and then come back with a recommendation to go forward with a bylaw as opposed to bring the bylaw back. And what my intent is here is to move this forward so that we do the research, we create the bylaw, we bring the bylaw back to the next council if that's what is necessary through the time, and that we get this thing moving, because people are being displaced or will be displaced. I understand the importance that Mr. Ray and of course what Councillor Kim is saying, that it's good to have thoughtful pause and have a good discussion and have a complete look at all of this before we implement a bylaw, because bylaws are very important. But bylaws are what we do here. It's why we exist. We're here to provide legislation that will protect our residents. And we have, I think, somewhere close to 13,000 of them that are renters. And I think they deserve that protection. And I think they deserve it sooner than later. So that's why I appreciate number 2. If it has to go to number 1, it's fine. But, you know, we spend a lot of money on other things that don't protect the rights and interests of other people. I think we need to do something that puts the rights and the priorities of our rental people and protects our affordable rental stock. And I want it to be done as soon as we can and not delay it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. Any other comments? Seeing none, well, the only comments I have is, I mean, I personally would prefer, if we are looking at implementing anything, a pilot. That's my own personal opinion. You know, we did commit to hiring freeze and ensuring that we were being very cognizant of staffing. Staffing to hire staff is a very large percentage of our budget, and we have to be very mindful of that. No different than doing a pilot for our windrow clearing program. I think it's great to be able to have an inside look at a pilot to see if it's a measurable service. I don't think that we're not protecting the citizens by engaging in that. For me personally, I would rather get a little bit more information between now and council about that. But at this point in time, I certainly am not prepared to commit to hiring a full-time staff and a part-time staff. That's just where I stand today. Councillor Gallo, for a second time.
Thank you. I'm just a little confused at the discussion at the table. My take on this between option 1 and 2 is 1 obviously is a pilot project and does not require us to spend staff time and effort to develop a bylaw. Whereas 2 is asking as a first step to develop a bylaw, and all of that, 1 and 2, will go to the next council to decide. We're not deciding anything. We're not hiring anyone. We're asking staff to develop the document and the foundation so that the next council can make that decision. So I'm not here hiring anyone. I'm not increasing staff. We're building that foundation for that next council to make that decision. Unless I'm off, that's what I'm understanding we're moving forward with. The difference between creating that bylaw or just having a pilot project with limited staff and using probably existing bylaws to be able to for that staff to conduct their work. Is that your intent through you, Madam Chair, Councillor Weiss?
Councillor Weiss, would you like to respond? Yep, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, the intent here is to approve that we move forward deliberately with this and not create another pilot project. I have no intention that this is going to be done in September, or it'll be done in this council, or it'll likely be done in the next council, but I think we need to put the resources behind it. There is some urgency. I mean, this came before us, I think, in March of this year, and here we are looking at this months after months after months. And the last time we had a conversation, Mr. Ray and I said, well, let's take a look at the financial feasibility. And it's been a number of months just to see that get these numbers put in place. And that has delayed it further. I just don't want any delays. And if option 2 provides some urgency, it gives some approval for staff to take a look at this and hire people in a phased way, I'm fine with that. So it's exactly what you're saying, Councillor Gallo. I'm not suggesting we're going out tomorrow to hire a part-time and a full-time staff and then wonder what to do with them. I'm going to leave it up to the,
Okay.
our people to get that done.
Perfect, thank you. Ms. DeSirio, I believe you wanted to comment on some clarity.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I just want to clarify that the bylaw officer that we will be retaining, if council chooses this alternative, or recruiting, and the part-time contract administrative support, those would come first because we would require that bylaw person to prepare the bylaw and to draft the bylaw. So that will come before the bylaw is brought to council. It would come probably this term.
Councilor Gallo?
So, just for clarity, we are still not suggesting that we're hiring people now. This is still a next budget cycle issue and decision for the next council.
Ms. DeSirio?
Through you, Madam Chair, that is not how staff would take it. Like if council passes this alternative recommendation, then that would be assigned for staff to start the recruitment process to hire the support positions in order to then work on the bylaw to then bring to the next council meeting. I'm sorry, not the next council meeting, the next term of council.
Okay.
We need the person to prepare the bylaw before we can bring the bylaw to council.
And through you, Madam Chair, we need a person and a half to create a bylaw? I suspect not.
Ms. DeSirio?
Through you, Madam Chair, it's actually just a part-time person. Alex clarified that for me.
And now I'm really confused. Number two, why don't we just read it?
It's confusing.
Can we have it up again, please? Thank you.
If I just may, it does say
One full-time contract by law enforcement licensee officer and one part-time contract administrative support position to administer and support the program be approved. So to administer and support the program, not to create the bylaw. I'm confused.
Ms. DeSirio?
Through you, Madam Chair, that is part of administering the program. Somebody has to do the work to get the program up and running.
Councillor?
Okay, well, I'm not in support of hiring anyone now, and we're at the end of our term, and I can appreciate the urgency, but to me, this is an issue that the next council has to address. That's my view.
Thank you, Councillor Gallo. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none. I believe you've already spoken 3 times, Councillor Gallo. Sorry, Louise, is this like
I want to thank you for the clarification of all of this. And I agree with Councillor Gallo on this issue here. What I'd like to have some urgency on is the development of the bylaw so it can be brought back for council's consideration and implementation. And so if what you're saying is that the part-time person is sufficient to do that, then I'm agreeing with both Councillor Kim and Councillor Gallo that if this can be done in a relatively urgent fashion, be brought back to us in September so that we can take a look at the bylaw and anticipate what the costs are and whether we should go forward with a full-time person. I'm fully ready to withdraw number 2 and go back to number 1, as Councillor Gallo says. I just want to see some urgency on this on behalf of our residents. That's all.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. I believe we should just vote on this amendment, and then if somebody wants to bring something else forward, they can. Okay. So we're just going to vote on what's on the floor, and then if that fails, then we can put another recommendation on the floor. Okay. So I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That fails. Anybody else want to put anything else on the floor? Yeah, right, sorry. All right, anybody else want to put anything else on the floor? Councillor Weiss? You can receive it for now. If you can receive it for now, that would be my recommendation. I'm thinking that's probably the best approach we have between now and council. We can look at it. We've asked a lot of questions around the table and maybe there'll be something by then. Perfect. All right, perfect. So can I get a secondary receive? Councillor Gallo, any other comments or questions? Councillor Weiss, is that just you wanting to? Okay, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay, so is it, Madam Clerk, is now health break?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, perfect. So I am going to call the health break, and then when we get back, if I just may, pull item 14.2 up after our health break, because there are people in the audience. So I do want to respect your time here. So after health break, we shall move up to 14.2. Is council okay with that when we return? Just a nod of heads is okay? Okay, perfect. All right, so we will be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. We can get everybody back to the table. That would be great. All right, council, we're going to start with item 14.2. Councillor Weiss, you pulled the item. Did you want to move the recommendation? Or do you want to just, okay, perfect. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Kim. Okay. Can I get a motion to put it on? That was my motion. Can I get any comments or questions to the item? Councillor Weiss?
Sure. So we're talking 2, right? Just to make sure we're on 2. 15.2. Right, thank you.
14.2.
Yeah. I'm satisfied with the report on the heritage building here. So that's good to see. Let me just pull up my details here. Right. And the applicant planners have been very diligent in listening to people over the last 2 times we've met, and the items listed in the report, the history demonstrate that as well. So I like it when people want to work with us and work with the residents in order to get something that is feasible and acceptable. And as was mentioned by a number of the delegates, I just want to go back through some of those items just to make sure that we're clear on them. I believe we spoke about a sidewalk on the west side and a crosswalk. The problem that we have there is that if we're going to be walkable and we have no sidewalk and we have no crosswalk, then everybody in that location is going to be bound. And the only way they'll get out is by car or by going up to Yonge Street and trying to get on a bus. There's not even a sidewalk on that side. So I'm really worried about the walkability and the pedestrian safety in there. So through you to Mr. Ramuna, have we had conversations with the applicant about the sidewalk and the crosswalks in that area? Because I didn't see it in the report.
Mr. Ramuna?
Certainly, through you, Madam Chair. Yes, we have with respect to, and they heard the comments at the previous public meeting. They are accommodating for a future widening to the town to accommodate a sidewalk along the frontage of their 3 properties on Old Yonge Street to St. John's. Right, this evening we're dealing with OP and zoning applications. If they get approved, their next step is to come in with a formal site plan application, and that's when we will accommodate for that sidewalk. Again, that's along their frontage on the west side of Old Yonge from their southern limit to St. John's.
So that has been discussed, and it'll be discussed when they come with the site plan. That's great.
Yes.
And I have to ask this all the time. It says on page 5 of 9, it states we have a requirement for 25% of the units being affordable. So I ask if this is achieved. My suggestion is that there has never been an attempt here to try to call these affordable units or by the applicant or the developer to build something that's going to be classified as an affordable unit. So through you, just want to have that verified, because we keep having this 25% in our official plan, but we don't seem to be enforcing it very often. And this is on a transit area, a regional corridor, and we're putting density there allegedly because that's where we want to have density for people to live and for people to travel. So through you to Mr. Ramuno, just to confirm that 25% is not likely going to be considered here in this development.
Mr. Ramuno?
Through you, Madam Chair, sorry. So again, that's obviously a standard policy that we include in all reports. It is a little early at this stage because again, they haven't come in with they haven't firmed up the tenure of the building or a site plan. But when applicants do come in with a formal site plan, that's when we do sit down with them and our finance department for the applicant to demonstrate what their price points are going to be. So we do continue to work with applicants to strive to try and achieve as much as we can towards that affordability goal.
Okay, I appreciate the attempt at that. Thank you very much. And it says in there that we lack servicing as yet. Do we have allocation there and servicing for this development presently through you,
Mr. Ramuno?
Madam Chair?
Through you, Madam Chair. So no, we're recommending the zoning to include a holding provision. And when the applicant does come in with a site plan application at a future date, we would then come back to council when allocation is available from the latest regional assignment. So that would be the next step.
Okay.
Councillor?
That's all for me right now.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. I couldn't move that one up. Yeah. Make them wait. It's off. Let's go. Councillor Gallo wants to move up item 14.3. If anybody has any objections, I'm okay with that. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. 14.3, Councillor Gallo, you pulled this. Would you like to move the recommendation? Seconder? Councillor Weiss? Councillor Gallo, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll be really quick. I'm in support of the application. I just wanted to make a note in terms of there's no servicing because I think similar to the last one, the application hasn't submitted a site plan, but because this application, as we all know, has been around for a long time, and we want to see these things move forward. Through you to Mr. Ramuno, is there any way that we could, once they fulfill their obligations with the site plan and everything else, to have a priority set for this application for servicing?
Mr. Ramuno?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, certainly, Council Gallo. So once council approves the zoning amendment application with the H, it will come on our priority list for future servicing allocation. The applicants do have a site plan application that we're just working through that. But again, it'll be sometime early 2027 when we'll be able to report back to council on lifting the H and allocating servicing capacity once we get confirmation from the region. So that'll definitely move up to our priority list, similar to the previous application as well.
Councillor?
Thank you. And the only reason I say this is because this application, as we all know, has been a long time since it's been submitted and moving along, perhaps slower than we all would have liked. And I just want to see it continue at a speed that's reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gallo. Councillor Weiss?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Councillor Gallo. I'd like to see this move forward. I do have a question, and maybe through Mr. Ramuno. There were public comments regarding the adjacent industrial complex, and have those been satisfactorily resolved? Because I haven't seen it anywhere in a report. Through you, Madam.
Mr. Ramuno?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, they have, and that's one reason it took a while to bring the application to conclusion with the final recommendation report. And just trying to flip through the report, we do have a section in there where the applicant has satisfied the Ministry of the Environment guidelines. Yes.
Okay, I still have some concerns over the reduced front yard setbacks and some reduction in parking availability. But at this point, I think we want to get this resolved and have it move forward. So thanks, I'm through.
Thank you, Councillor Weiss. Councillor Gartner?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Ramuno. Mr. Muno, this is on a curve. I've had issues with the plaza, the sightlines coming out of that plaza, especially where the medical building is. And it's frankly, just because of the way it's curved, it's a dangerous area, well, for traffic and pedestrians. Is there anything in place to help with the sightlines, or I don't know what the solution could be. We had the hedge cut back. That was done and that improved it. We prevented York Region buses from parking in that area. But the sightlines are difficult coming out of the plaza. And it's a very busy plaza. I don't think we included enough parking in that plaza. So I'd like a comment from you.
Mr. Ramuno?
To you, Madam Chair. So again, we're still talking about the 20 Allaura Boulevard application. Yes.
Yeah.
So the required traffic studies have been submitted and reviewed by our staff. And no issues with the traffic movements and the capacity coming into and from the site. As your council is aware, we are doing a town in the middle of a town-wide pedestrian crosswalk study. So we're looking at potential crosswalks locations throughout the municipality, but from an access and point of view as it relates to traffic, there are no issues with the design of the intersection or the access point on Allaura Boulevard in this location.
Councillor?
Through you, Madam Chair. I know this area extremely well. This is where my doctor's office is. This is a difficult curve. So notwithstanding any of the traffic studies, this is something that needs to be carefully attended to in the planning of this development, because it is already difficult. And there's nothing in at number 20. There's nobody coming in and out of that area. And we did have the vegetation cut back, but it needs to be on the radar because, of course, we don't want to have any traffic accidents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gartner. Any other comments or questions? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Back to 10.2. Restricted acts during the election of a new council. Councillor Gallo, you pulled this. Would you like to move the staff recommendation? Okay, second to receive. Councillor Weiss. Councillor Gallo, would you like to speak to it? Go ahead.
Message to the next term to fix these microphones so we have full control of them. Just through to staff. First of all, do we have any historical data of this being done in Aurora in the past? Not sure who.
Madam Clerk?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, a bylaw similar to the one proposed was passed in 2022 ahead of the election year.
Thank you. Madam Clerk. Did I say Madam Clerk? Yeah. Councillor Gallo?
Okay, we don't have that on. We don't have is it identical to this? Are the limits of delegated authority very similar to this?
Madam Clerk?
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm going to defer this question to the Director of Corporate Services.
Well, you know what? I'm going to review it because let's not waste time tonight. I'll review that. In the meantime, I'm not in support of this delegated authority in some 80 days. I probably wouldn't have voted for it the last time around if I was on council. I agree with the delegate that through good management and proper communication, we can resolve any issues within that time frame. But I will review the old one and at council make a decision.
Thank you, Councillor Gallo. Councillor Weiss.
Yeah, I share some of the issues around delegated authority, and so I would appreciate it if that could be forwarded to all council members so they can have a look in comparison when it comes back to council at the end of the month. So through you to Mrs. Desario, can you send that out to us all?
Ms. Desario?
Through you, Madam Chair. Are you asking for the 2022 bylaw that was passed by council?
Yes.
Then yes, I can certainly send that around to everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Desario. I'm sure we'll all look forward to that. And maybe you could also give us the 2018 as well, since some of us were on council at that time, just for comparators. That'd be great. Councillor Kim?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Mr. Desario, I believe in 2022, we did something relatively the same. Can you share with us what the experience was at that time?
Ms. Desario?
Through you, Madam Chair. I'd have to revisit the meeting to see what the experience was at the time, but the bylaw was very similar. There are a few additions as outlined in the report to this one, but in general, it's the same delegated authority that we received the last time.
Councillor? I
Yeah.
think she's just going to provide that
Yeah.
between now and council.
I just meant not at that meeting, but during those days from whatever August to October, what the staff experience was.
Mr. Nadarozny?
To me, Madam Chair, I don't believe any delegated decisions were made by the CAO in the last two elections. I could be wrong about the first one, but I believe it. If there was something's nagging, I'm not sure if it was my previous life or the first election here, where there was something administrative came up, because I do remember a report going to council outlining the one decision that was made to the beginning of the new council. But I'm pretty sure that was. I don't think that was Aurora. I don't think anything has been made here.
Okay. That's all.
Councillor?
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kim. Councillor Gartner?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. CAO, I don't know if you were here, but in one of our areas that have a lot of heritage buildings, permission was done to build, to change the front of a building and put up many steps. It just was completely not in keeping with the look of the street. I think it might be the street that you live on, Councillor Weiss, but with respect to heritage building matters, would that also be delegated to staff? Because the Heritage Committee did not approve that.
Through
Mr. Nadarozny?
you, Madam Chair. No, those things wouldn't be delegated to the CAO or any other staff. In my experience, the delegation bylaw, is fairly open for things that might have to, that could happen. Personally, when I've been this would be my third or fourth election where this bylaw was in place for me as a CAO, and it's used very reluctantly and only on something that is, either an emergency or it's highly unlikely any councillor is going to object to the decision being made. So it's very in keeping with what you would expect a routine decision that needs to be made, but falls outside the normal limits where we would have to go to council.
Thank you. I'm very, very glad to hear that.
Any other council questions? Just suggesting if council's okay, we refer it back to staff so staff can come back with more information that's more relevant, so we're not wasting any time. Is everybody in agreement with that? Councillor Gallo, would you be all right with that as the mover? Yeah. Councillor Weiss as a seconder? Yep. Okay. Madam Clerk, you're okay with that? Great. Okay, so we're going to refer back to staff. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay, so item 11.1, Council Conference Review and Reporting Framework. Councillor Gartner, you pulled this. Would you like to move the recommendation by staff? Would you like us to remove to receive?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, seconder? Councillor Weiss? Councillor Gartner? Go
Thank
ahead.
you, Madam Chair. We had a delegate who made a point that I was concerned about, which was conferences, mostly AMO and FCM. They're very important conferences. Not everybody can go or wants to go to those. I'm talking about council members. And I agree that there should be a standardized written post-event report, but to put those forward in the semi-annual reporting structure, I don't think that is the correct way to go. So I could approve this if I would like to suggest that there is a short period after a conference when a councillor or mayor has to put forward this report. Everything is fresh in your mind, probably making notes anyway at the conference. I would say at least within 2 meeting cycles. So that is a motion I would like to make.
Councillor, are you asking to put an amendment?
Thank you. Amendment to the receipt.
So the amendment is to
Report back within, the requirement would be to report back to council with a written report within 2 council cycles. So that'd be a month.
Can I get a seconder for that? Councillor Gallo? Madam Clerk, did you get that? To report back within 2 meeting cycles.
Thank you. Thank you. That's better wording.
Madam Clerk, go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Councillor Gardner. So the intention is to approve the proposed framework with the amendment that council members are required to report back within 2 council meeting cycles. So if that's your intention, what I would suggest the motion would read is clause 1 to receive, clause 2 that the proposed reporting framework in attachment 1 be approved, and that the framework include a report back cycle, or sorry, a report back requirement for members to report back within 2 council meeting cycles, so that you're approving the framework as well as the amendment as you have proposed.
Thank you. That's correct. So appreciate that. So the part bold in the middle of the page on page 4 would have to go.
Okay, so I
no.
believe this is the amendment that we're putting on the floor, correct?
Yes. I'm just
Okay.
bringing it to staff's attention.
Yep,
That is
so I
in
think
the
she's
body of the
gonna-
report.
I'm just going to get up on the screen and then we can all have a conversation about it. Okay, so this is Councillor Gardner's amendment. Councillor Gardner, is that the amendment you are looking for?
Thank you.
Okay, can I get a seconder to put the amendment on the floor. Councillor Weiss. Councillor Gardner, would you like to speak to the amendment, please?
No, I think I've spoken to it. Thank you.
Councillor Kim to the amendment, please.
Given the delegate shared that an earlier report from council would be best as that everything is fresh in our memories, I'm more inclined to have a more earlier date, whether it be 2 weeks or 4 weeks, but 2 months, a 2-month cycle. We've seen that we don't even have a summer council schedule. We're talking about October, which we don't have a meeting in October, I don't believe. So my preference would be somewhere within 30 days.
Councillor Gardner.
Thank you. Actually, that was my intent. I see what you mean, because now the cycle is the whole month. Yes. Thank you so much. That's my intent.
Okay, Councillor Gardner, maybe Madam Clerk, we do a friendly amendment for that miscommunication or misunderstanding. Would that be something we could do? Councillor Gardner, are you all right with that?
Absolutely.
Or the seconder okay with that?
Thank you, Councillor Kim.
We can speak to that though.
Councillor Gardner, to your further amendment, 30 days, we might not have a council meeting within 30 days. So is it possible to require council members to report back at the next council meeting? Is that sufficient?
I think
it depends on the timing, I guess.
I believe Madam Clerk is just trying to ensure that
Yeah.
we have a little bit of leeway because our council meetings aren't exactly cyclical every 30 days. And then that way, it just means that the
Fine.
next council versus the 30-day mark. So
Fine.
it gives us a little bit more leeway. So I still think we're still going to get the report within a timely fashion. It just might be 45 days. It might be even, maybe they move it up and it's even shorter, but it's the next council. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Makes sense?
Makes sense.
Councillor Weiss, you're okay with that? Yep, perfect. Councillor Weiss, did you want to speak to the amendment? Do you still have your?
So we'll get the amendment done and then we'll move on.
Any other comments or questions to the amendment as been friendlied? Okay, call the vote on the amendment. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Back to the main motion. Any other comments or questions? Councillor Weiss.
Belabor it, but in this world of privacy, where is this going to reside? I mean, we have a report, we bring it back somewhere. I suppose it goes to the clerk. Is this to be published and is to be put on the website? Because I haven't seen anything that said where it's going to go, and there's no sense doing it unless it's going to be a public document. So,
Ms.
if
Wainwright Castle?
yeah, if the amendment is that the reports are reviewed by staff and approved for publication.
Ms. Wainwright Castle?
Through you, Madam Chair, the intent would be to include these with our semi-annual reporting on the same webpage that the council remuneration is reported. So the reports would be added to that and then they would be publicly available there.
Councillor?
That's the understanding and it's going to happen. I'm okay with it. It's just that it doesn't appear in the information. So if the clerk feels that's good enough, that we have a schedule of reporting back on a regular schedule of councillor compensation, I'm fine with that.
And if I could just clarify, within the motion, it did say that it was going to be a council agenda as well, the meeting. So it will be included there as well, from my understanding from the clerk.
Okay. Fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. All right. Councillor Gardner for the second time.
I have an amendment. Would it be
You
the-
have an amendment.
a different amendment.
You have an amendment to the main motion. What is your amendment, Council?
My amendment follows on the information that the delegate, Mr. Hartman, brought forward. I would like to move the amendment that no members of council may attend conferences in the last 6 months of the term. And maybe you want to think it through and we could discuss it next time, but in the last 6 months of the term, you're pretty much concentrating on the election. And I don't think it's appropriate.
Sorry, Madam Clerk, through Ms. Wainwright Kessel, I don't believe that was within the framework that was in the report, correct?
Through you, Madam Chair, no, that wasn't part of what was considered as part of the report. That would be an actual change to the policy itself. So that would be different to what's contained within this report. This report is just about the reporting out after the events.
Thank you.
Separate.
Obviously, you're right. So this would have to be
It's a separate
motion.
motion. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions to the main motion on the floor? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Okay. 11.2, commercial stormwater charge review. Councillor Gartner, you pulled this one. Do you want to move staff recommendation? Seconder, please. Councillor Kim. Councillor Gartner, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mostly, I just want to thank council. I'm sorry, my iPad is not cooperating. So to thank staff, actually, well, to Councillor Weiss to begin with for the third part of the motion about St. Andrews Shopping Center. But to have this on the table, I think it's been a missing piece of the puzzle, and I don't think it's been fair to the ratepayers. So I'm very glad to see it, and I would like to know when it might be coming back. Through you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Madam Chair. So if council moves forward with the third recommendation, this would provide a special exception for the St. Andrews properties. We are going to be working on the stormwater charge, and that is something that we will be working on and reporting back on a recommended structure in the 2027. But once that structure is in place, it will take some time to actually implement because we'd be looking at some configuration changes in our financial system, moving the data over from water billing to tax billing potentially, and then also having to do the work to actually categorize properties so that they are classified and charged appropriately. And that will take some time.
Something simple is quite complicated. Okay, thank you. I think that because it's in fairness to the residents, that will be something that will have a high priority for staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gartner. Any other comments? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Item 13.1, PO increase Compass Minerals for salt supply. Councillor Gartner, you pulled this. Would you like to move the recommendation? Thank you. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Gallo, Councillor Gartner, go ahead.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with my computer. But this is kind of through you, Madam Chair, to, I believe it would be Ms. Steenkamp. This is a pretty scary situation where, and our staff did remarkably well, where a municipality could run out of salt, which directly affects road safety, et cetera. It's, is this the way of the future, do you think? And also, we've been talking for a long time about, I know that our salt practices have improved substantially. We use a lot less salt. It's taken a lot of hard work on behalf of staff. But is there anything else that you see coming around the bend that would take us off salt? Or at least reduce our use of salt even more?
Ms. Steenkamp?
Through you, Madam Chair. So just to be clear, you'd like to know whether there's any new products or mitigation measures to reduce salt usage further?
Thank you. And also through Madam Chair, if this is going to be, this is quite a concern about salt. Luckily, our staff was proactive, but do you see this as a continuing concern?
Ms. Steenkamp?
So through you, Madam Chair, this year was a bit of a perfect storm. I mean, we had back-to-back events. They were early in the season. There was high demand on salt in the industry. And as you can appreciate, it's a tiered system. The larger users get first demand of it, provincial highways, federal institutions. And once it gets down to municipalities, we are, down the list for delivery. Certainly, contractors were in a worse case scenario than us. Aurora is very fortunate. We have a large salt barn. We have the ability to stockpile significant amounts compared to other municipalities. So for us, I don't necessarily see us having an issue in the future. I mean, it's all weather dependent as well. But our staff have because of our ability to stockpile and our ability to manage the salt very well, I'm confident we won't find ourselves in this position necessarily. As for your second part of your question, they're always actively working on other products. There's a beet product that they're using. It's derived from beets actually. But none of those are tried and true, proven yet. And it's the scale that would be required. And because of the uniqueness of it, it's a large cost at this point. Small commercial contractors are using some of those. Will they become larger, more commercially available in the future? Potentially. And staff are always looking for those things. And there's a lot of conferences around salt, and we have a lot of connections with conservation authorities, and they're always bringing new products to our attention that we're not aware of.
Councillor?
Thank you very much for that comprehensive answer. And I apologize for not speaking to you before the meeting, but you did great. Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all.
Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Councillor Weiss?
Yeah, one last thing through to Mrs. Steenkamp. So we've heard of the certification program for people who deliver salt, and the attempt, of course, to reduce less salt, and then also have on the other side, the reduction in insurance costs because they're doing it correctly. Are we involved in that certification program? Through you to Ms. Steenkamp?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yes, certainly we are. It's called Smart About Salt. All our staff are fully trained in it. Our contractors are actually trained in it too. It's a full program that advises them how to calibrate their equipment appropriately. Certain areas where they should be putting down a greater application. We actually calibrate the equipment through our fleet program as well. And when those pieces of equipment come in, they're checked frequently to make sure that they still are calibrated at the rates that we're proposing.
Yeah, I'm sure the public's happy to know that that's happening, because we get complaints all the time about all the salt that's being put down, and there's a process of doing that, and where our people are trained on it. So thanks for that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Weiss. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed, that carries. Okay, so that brings us to new business. Councillor Weiss, any new business?
Give me a moment. I got them written down somewhere. Oh, this has to do with we had the train tracks blocked up this weekend. And it makes me ask the question about where we are with the level crossings and the process that we have in place in order to make those as safe as they possibly can. I know that was put in the budget for this year, so through you probably to Mr. Ramuna, could you give me a bit of an update on that, because it came up at the at Metrolink's construction liaison committee.
Mr. Ramuna?
Through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, so that we do have that in the budget. I'll have to just confirm with our manager just on specific timing, but I know I think we're ready to kick off that study regarding the 4 or 5 different level crossings throughout town. But I'll confirm the dates tomorrow.
Great. And you'll have that ready for council, or you'll send an email to me. That's all I'm interested in, to pass that information on. The other thing that came up at the Metrolinks was the issue of a traffic study. And Metrolinks suggested that they were going to start their traffic study. They had a vendor ready to do the traffic study. And there were a number of questions about whether the town was going to be involved in that. And we didn't have a staff member at the last meeting. So I'd like to request that we have a staff member at the next meeting of the Construction Liaison Committee, and particularly with respect to the pending traffic study that is about to happen or will happen when a decision around the grade separation is made. So if you just make a note of that, I'd really appreciate to have a staff member at the Construction Liaison Committee. And I'll let you know when that is.
All right.
That's it for me.
Perfect. Councillor Gardner? Councillor Gallo? No. Councillor Kim? Okay, any public announcements? Councillor Kim, we'll start with you. Councillor Gallo? Nope. Councillor Gardner?
Yes, it is Pride Month, and we've already had flag raising and a special event, and there's going to be a parade in Newmarket. And we always welcome members of the public to join us. And it's very important. I'm sorry, I'm going to stand up and show you our t-shirt, which we all have, right? So it can't just be words. We have to make what we say on our t-shirt and in our policies a reality. So I'm going to thank everybody in advance for doing that. And also, I'm very sorry. I'm going to apologize for Councillor Kim as well, unless I missed something. Last month was Jewish Heritage Month and Asian Heritage Month. And we did not announce that. So our apology and acknowledgement of the many contributions that have been made by both of those communities to the benefit of Canada.
Councillor Weiss?
You don't have a t-shirt. They're in the cabinet out there in the hall. Who's going to help him out?
Councillor Weiss, do you have public announcements? No?
That's a public announcement.
That's it? Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. Councillor Gallo, go ahead.
So I missed 2. Italian Heritage Month, celebrating that. And that also leads to this Sunday's Chamber of Commerce wonderful Yonge Street Festival. And we're praying for good weather. I think it's about 30% rain now, but we're praying for good weather. So looking forward to seeing everyone there.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I think there's that's this coming Sunday. this coming Sunday. Okay, I have a couple here as well. June is Recreation and Parks Month. This year's theme, Every Journey Belongs, celebrates welcoming spaces for everyone. Enjoy free live music rather, festivals, markets, Indigenous storytelling, recreation events, and more throughout the month. You can visit aurora.ca/JRPM for more details of what's going on. Help shape Aurora's 2027 budget and tell us how you would like to spend your tax dollars. Complete how would you like to slice it budget survey, and you could even win a pizza night. Take the survey now at engageaurora.ca/budget2027. Aurora's Recreation Fair returns June 11th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Stronach Aurora Recreation Complex. There you can discover programs, services, camps, courses, and volunteer opportunities, and connect with recreation specialists who can help you find the right fit. And you can learn more at aurora.ca/recfair. And finally, we have here June 13th. Everyone's invited to the Aurora Town Park for Aurora's Performing Arts Festival presented by Marquee Theatrical Productions. That's in partnership with the town of Aurora. You can cheer on the talented young performers as they compete in acting, singing, and dancing for the championship title. Cool is that? The competition starts at 10 a.m. For more information, visit aurora.ca/artsfestival. We got lots going on here. June is the National Indigenous History Month. Join us at the Aurora Town Park again on Saturday, June 20th from 9 to 1. And that way you can celebrate and learn more about the cultural diversity of the First Nations, the Inuit, and the Métis people. There will be some Indigenous storytelling by the Anishinaabe grandmother Kim Wheatley at 9 a.m., followed by musical performance by Dave Mowat and Trio at 11 a.m. And you could go to the town website, aurora.ca/Indigenous people. Get active with your family this summer and join Cycle Aurora throughout the month of July for weekly bike challenges. Explore a beautiful town on 2 wheels and have a chance to win great prizes and gift cards. You can register there at aurora.ca/Cycle Aurora. And last but not least, it's that time of year again. We are ready to kick off another amazing season of concerts in the park throughout the months of July and August. Join us at the Aurora Town Park every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for live music. You can see the full concert lineup at aurora.ca/summer concerts. And I think that's it for now. Unless anybody else has any further public announcements that we might have forgotten about. Councillor Gartner, you have one more? Well,
I have
might
one
as well.
Of course, the farmers market is open and amazing. And there is going to be a concert in the park on June 13th. Well, a concert during the farmers market, June 13th, by our wonderful Aurora Community Band. So everybody's welcome to come out. And of course, it's all free.
Great, thank you very much. All right, well, I think that's it for now. So I shall get a motion to adjourn. Councillor Weiss, Councillor Kim, all those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Thank you very much.